Oh, nice. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. My name is Steve, and today we are talking the KD12s in the Nike Nationals colorway. And unfortunately, there's a couple reasons why these just do not make the cut. Can't win them all. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the history of the KD12s. Now, this is KD's 12th sneaker. Makes sense, KD12, and it's actually the 13th he's worn as a pro, if you count the flight school Nikes that he wore in 07, 08, I believe that was. Let me double check. Yes, 07, 08 was the year that he wore the flight schools, and then the KD1s came out the following season. And remember, KD signed to Nike as a rookie, which was pretty rare, and the following season, his sophomore season, is when he's got the KD1s that dropped in. We are now here at the KD12s, which released this year, so there's only been a few colorways, I think about 4, maybe 5 colorways. The first day one colorways were black and gray, then there was a red colorway, a white colorway, and then we get to the 90s Kid, and then these, the Nike Nationals, which are probably the biggest departure from traditional colorways in the whole KD12 line. So what is the big technology bump with the KD12s? Well, for Nike, the largest selling point that they were pushing with this shoe is the update to the strobel. Now you might be asking, what the hell is a strobel? Well, it is actually the bottom piece of the upper. It's a textile piece. It is very kind of rigid, and it actually holds the shape of the rest of the upper. So essentially, if the sides and the toe and the heel of the shoe that make up the upper are kind of like a sock, the strobel is the piece that goes underneath it, which kind of acts as the bottom of your sock, but it's more rigid and it holds that shape, so the shoe doesn't kind of like flop around and fall over. Makes perfect sense. But because of that rigidity, there wasn't a lot of dynamic movement or feel with the strobel, and it kind of disconnects the wearer from the performance aspect of the midsole. Doesn't mean the midsole is not performing. It just doesn't mean that your foot isn't feeling kind of every move and groove the way that it could. So Nike is trying to combat this by updating the strobel and interweaving Zoom Air throughout it. Now, they couldn't have just one large Zoom Air bag going throughout the entirety of the shoe because it wouldn't be able to bend and flex with your foot. So the engineers kind of cut the Zoom Air bags into little compartments, and there's a pattern of Zoom Air bags with grooves going in between them that allows it to flex and move with your foot as you're running and jumping and doing basketball things. Nike also claims that this Zoom Air strobel is going to give the wearer more connectedness to the performance of the midsole. Now, wearing these shoes, I maybe felt a little bit of a responsiveness, or more responsiveness, I should say. If you're wearing these KD12s and using them to play, let me know in the comments below if you think that is the case. So additionally to the Air Zoom strobel, you have an Air Zoom perforated midsole with a double stack Air Zoom bag in the heel, which is then topped off by some translucent kind of shiny sidewall, and then on the very bottom of the shoe you get the multi-directional grip pattern. More on that grip pattern in a minute. Now, the last piece of technology we have in this shoe is the quad axial flywire. So there's flywire going through the upper, up, down, side to side, hence quad axial. Now, this is meant to give the wearer supreme lockdown and confidence and comfort no matter which direction that their foot is moving with the shoe. So ideally, you should not feel your foot moving around in the shoe. It should feel almost like a second skin because the flywire is pulling and holding the upper in all the different directions that you may be moving as you're moving it. All right, now that we got the technology part out of the way, let's talk about the design on these KD12s. Now, I will say up front, that my favorite in the entire KD line is probably the KD 10s, and that's more or less because they resemble the LeBron 16s in a lot of ways, and I'm just very partial to that shoe. However, I do really like the silhouette of these KD 12s. I think my favorite colorway that's been released so far is the 90s Kid, mostly because I think that has the most on and off court possibilities as far as wearing them. With this Nike Nationals colorway, I was immediately drawn to the vibrancy of it. It's like a tie-dye, kind of gradient shifting type of colorway, and I really do like the translucent kind of outer wall going along the midsole. That's got a nice like shine to it and just kind of reflects nicely off the light. With the almost all synthetic material that this shoe is made out of, it really relies heavily on the graphic work and the colors and things like that. And as far as branding goes with this shoe, there's minimal Nike swooshes, and they're actually kind of hard to see, especially on the outside of the shoe. It's very blended in with all these colors, and on the inside there's a little bit more pronounced Nike swoosh, but it is smaller. And along the inside you also have the quad axial flywire kind of denotation area where it's pointing out into a little window where you can see the actual quad axial flywire doing its thing, I guess. And dare I say, it's a little off-white-esque in a way, kind of having that sans serif informative font going along the side of the shoe, but just ever so slightly. It blends in nicely with this shoe, and I think it works, and I'm pretty sure that's on most of all the other KDs. I think especially on a cleaner white colorway or black colorway with some contrasting lettering where that is, it looks sharp. Now, quality and construction. The shoe feels very solid, and in hand, you kind of twist it and pull at it a little bit. It definitely is more of a rigid shoe. It's not flexible like your running shoes or like some other Nike basketball shoes. It's got that stability that you're looking for in a basketball shoe. The quality and construction feels nice. The stitching looks precise. The materials, like I said before, are all kind of like a synthetic woven material, almost like a mesh. Parts of it are semi-transparent. So there's not a lot of natural leather or anything going on here where you got to worry about a lot of creasing. Honestly, I think this upper is going to hold up pretty well when it comes to like creasing and wrinkles or anything like that. It should look pretty sharp, especially if you're only using it for indoor use. Now onto the comfort and performance of this shoe and how it worked for me in the gym. Now I will say, after taking the first few steps in them, you can really feel just how comfortable these shoes are. I mean, I actually personally like this shoe more as a runner as opposed to a basketball shoe, and here's the reason why. I first started out doing some light drills in the gym on the court, running back and forth, little shuffles here and there, and then I started to get into some more aggressive moves where I'm planting my foot, pivoting, cutting, things like that, and doing a little crossover drill. I stepped hard with my right foot, the shoe just didn't grab the way I was expecting it to, and I lost my balance. And honestly, that kind of spooked me into doing more aggressive things or even playing any kind of pickup basketball that day, because I just didn't feel the confidence that the shoe was going to grip and grab the way that I'm used to with the past couple shoes I've been using in the gym, like the Jordan 13s, the LeBron 16s, and even the Kyrie 5s. I thought are superior when it comes to gripping and turning and cutting hard. For some reason, something about this grip pattern, or maybe that there isn't as much grip going up along the sidewalls like some of the other shoes I use, for whatever reason, it just didn't do the job for me, and that kind of turned me off to it immediately as a basketball shoe. Now, like I said, the shoe was still very comfortable as a running shoe, so I went upstairs, got on the treadmill, and did about 3.5 miles in these shoes, and I love the Zoom Air in this midsole. It's super, super smooth on the ride. It feels great, and the only drawback for me personally is that there was a little bit of inward pressure on the sides of my foot. So overall, guys, I think what you're getting for the $150 price point is a lot of shoe, a lot of good technology in this shoe. You're getting good performance, and perhaps you're going to have a different experience with the on-court performance than I did. Like I said, it was just one little accident, and maybe it was an anomaly, but definitely get this shoe and try it on yourself. See how it feels when you're cutting, running, and jumping on the court. If anything, I recommend this shoe as a great workout shoe. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this latest sneaker video. If you liked what you saw, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think of these KD12s in the comments below, and please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell so you're notified when the next sneaker review drops. I've got more coming on the way. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good day, good evening, good night, whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.